Good afternoon, and welcome to the Beaufort County Transportation Committee meeting for January the 19th, 2022. We have roll call, please.
Mr. Backer?
Here.
Ms. Kozak? Mr. Forrest?
Here.
Mr. Glover?
Here.
Mr. Gordon?
Here.
Mr. McCain?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Sellers Graves?
I saw her on there.
Here on. Mr. Winslow? Mr. Stroman?
Here. We have a quorum. It's also customary to go around the room, make introductions. Stu, would you start, please?
Stu Rodman, County Council, Chair of Public Facilities.
Greg Moore, RC for South Carolina DOT in Beaufort County.
Andrea Atherton, Director of Transportation, Beaufort County.
Suzanne Larson, Low Country Inside Track.
Brittany Field, CIP Coordinator for Beaufort County.
Carol Perrier, Executive Assistant to Jared Fralix.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody that's here. Please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will open our floor to public comment. Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of minutes. The minutes have been passed out and no one has made comments on it, so can I have a motion for approval?
Craig, I have one note. It's probably just a typo under old business, section D.
Okay.
SC 170 update is a reference to Hardyville County.
What line is that?
It's right at the
Oh, it's the very last line.
Yes.
Take out the word county. With that exception, will you make a motion for?
motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll start off with old business. Greg, looking forward to your update.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, so the list of active projects is not changed. Go ahead. 0754230 US 278 safety improvements. This is down District 8 on 278, Bluffton and Hilton Head. This is around 10 or so different intersections getting various improvements from a safety perspective. Anything from striping to signal heads to concrete medians to regrassing. We've already done the pre-construction meeting for that. We've got material being procured right now. Permanent construction signage being installed is in the next 4-week look-ahead schedule for that project. And the next actual meeting we'll be coordinating with the contractor on is the location and procurement on their mast arms. We're coordinating with District Signal right now, so.
Okay.
That project has a completion date out in June of 22 this year and currently no schedule impacts there, so. This project is on the tail end. This is 0790940. This is over by the Walmart and the new development on 170 leaving Beaufort. It originated as another intersection safety improvement. The project overall has done final inspection. We're just closing out some final additional scope that got added at the tail end of the project. And we're on the final change order right now for adding a ADA crosswalk into what was a new concrete median at the entrance to Walmart. Those pictures are actually from today, this afternoon. Took those myself right around lunchtime. And that median, as of this afternoon, they have actually demolished out the cut for the walkway across that concrete median. So, and I believe they were waiting on concrete either today or tomorrow to pour back. So
That was a badly needed improvement.
yes, sir. So we should be closing that out shortly as soon as we can finish that improvement. 565-3051 is a road rehabilitation contract had a large number of CMRB, which is cement modified reclaimed base, between Beaufort and Jasper County. For Beaufort County, this project is complete. The only remaining work is down in Jasper County on SC 315, going down towards the Speedway Boulevard project. So this is the project. This next one is the one I get all my phone calls on every day almost. It went from just being normal to getting the secretary's office calling me, getting Fripp Island, the park. It's gone through a massive increase in scope. The modified completion date for this is now 31 July of 2022. They started construction on Island Parkway back on 10 January, right after the new year. Originally, it was going to start back up on the 3rd of January, but the contractor's asphalt plant got pulled down for annual maintenance right at the start of the new year. So we initially thought we were going to have to delay it to the 17th, but we started on the 10th. And I wrote it before they started milling it, and it was still a roller coaster. Since they milled it, it's no longer a roller coaster. It's just a little bit of a rough ride because you're riding on a milled surface. They're on the tail end of widening out the shoulders, and I've already been asked the question, is there going to be a bike lane? There is no formal bike lane. We did it with district traffic assistance. We did narrow the travel lanes from 12 to 11, thus creating a pseudo bike lane on the outside shoulders. And those are almost complete for going in. Next step in this project is going to be doing the full depth patch, which for us is an 8-inch cutout, which we've done all the stationing out to figure out where all that depth patching is. And right now I'm actually waiting on the numbers from my project manager to come back and say, based on the contract value, we can do this much leveling. If we take the full 3% contingency that I'm authorized for, I can bring it to this level. And then if we really wanted to take this thing to the full extent, it's going to cost us this, and I need to ask for this. But right now I'm waiting to see what those numbers are and what the benefit is to the overall ride to be able to ask for that additional money.
That was more than a mile, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
I thought it was like a mile and a tenth or mile and a quarter.
I don't remember the exact length, but I mean, it's the majority of Hunting Island for Island
Right.
Parkway. And when I get to one of my last slides for upcoming projects, I'll talk about that last half mile as well, sir.
Okay.
565 6990 is probably over half complete. Again, we've got Boundary Street, which is still pending for schedule. I don't have that in a 4-week look ahead yet. It's probably within the next 2 months. That's a resurfacing. Drayton Drive is a state road over in Port Royal, which is getting the CMRB process on it. And so I believe that's scheduled within the next 2 months also. That's very temperature driven as well. So the next one, 565 8090, is road preservation. That one's on closeout. That one met schedule back in October. Any questions on current projects or projects in closeout before I move to upcoming?
Go ahead.
All right. Item 1 in the upcoming projects is the one piece of that project that got let last week includes the last half mile strip of Island Parkway joining up to the Fripp Island Bridge. The same contractor that is doing the current project got awarded is the apparent low bidder. While the contract's not yet in place to be able to do the milling and widening at the same time as the current project, we are trying to schedule it so that when they do the final riding surface of Island Parkway, they can do the whole stretch at one time. That's our goal right now. But again, that contract, the Island Parkway half mile section is one piece of that contract. There's a lot of other roads which I haven't focused on yet just because it got let last week. So US 278 resurfacing, that one's still scheduled for letting in March of 22. The benefit to that project is we took a learning curve with the 565 3051 that we finished the work in Beaufort County. We're finishing SC 315 now. We had a lot of learning curve with lane closure restrictions and scheduling the contractor on that one. With the 278 resurfacing, we have a lot more restrictions on having the contractor tell us, you're gonna have this much equipment, you're gonna have, without going to a full-blown, in detail schedule, they have to give us a lot more detail of their operations ahead of time, a lot more restriction on lane closures being 278, so.
These are both, there's two different sections on Hilton Head, is that not correct?
For that project,
That's really the question, is it that project or which section of 278 is that on?
I'd have to get back to you on the mile points on that one, sir. I believe it's 270, I believe that's contained within 278 business.
There were two sections that were scheduled for this year on Hilton Head, and I thought that's where this was.
Well, you've got the 278 resurfacing, and then you've also got, which will be this year, and you've got 278 toll road conversion, which is about to start as well.
And the toll road conversion, that's supposed to be completely resurfaced as well. The Cross Island's supposed to be resurfaced as well as the plaza's taken out, correct?
Yeah, that's actually my next item, sir. Which I actually just got this update at lunch today, which I'm going to share with you all a little bit of what's coming in the next couple months for this. I believe the apparent low bidder, they're in the contracting phase, so they've gone through the apparent low bidder on that one. And once they get the contract issued, the NTP issued, they have all the legal documentation in place. From that NTP, the contractor has 60 days to complete what they're calling the interim condition. That interim condition is being defined as the removal of all toll facilities which impede the free flow of traffic on the Cross Island Parkway, main line and ramps, and restriping of travel lanes through the affected areas to allow free flow traffic. Those impediments can be anything from canopies, toll booths, crash attenuators, concrete collards, barriers, curbs, stairwell openings, drainage features, and anything obstructing free flow. So they're anticipating that interim condition timeline starting in March. They've got some precursor, all that legal documentation they got to get in place, but they're anticipating that starting in March. But they've got, the one note here that I was given is that they do have language in the contract that prohibits lane closures during all hours of time periods starting April 8th through the 20th to avoid impacting the heritage.
Heritage, yeah. My understanding was that they held enough money from the tolls to pay for the resurfacing of the Cross Island.
Okay.
We did Palmetto Bay on the other, when you come across the bridge
Yes,
a
sir.
year or two ago. And so that will have all that complete road section resurfaced within a couple of years. So that
Yes, sir.
gives a good life.
Yes, sir. The same resident engineer that handled the Harbor Bridge is also handling this one, so
Okay.
she's familiar with the area. The last piece of this is the US 278 corridor improvements, which is still in public comments. I am not allowed to comment much on that one, so if there are questions on that one, I'm gonna have to defer to headquarters.
Understand. Any questions of Greg? Thanks so much for your update.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman.
Andrea, you're up next with dirt road paving contract 52 and 53.
Thank you, Chairman Gordon. So, dirt road paving contract number 52, which is Harrison Island, David Green, Wycliffe, and Wright Place. Drawings are all 95% complete, and we are ready to go, awaiting permits. All the permits were applied for in 2020, and as everyone knows, the permit process is slow, just like everything else today. So when the permits come in, the contractor, Ms. J. Tires, will jump on the first road that we have all the approved permits on. Contract number 53, which is the third year in this grouping of 5, includes as a base bid Twickenham, Northview, and Rainbow. And in this proposal, we went ahead and put out some alternate bids for what is actually year 5 dirt road paving, which includes James Washington, Leo Green, and Dolphin Watch Point. Year 4, as you know, is the rocking program that will be done on DeFusky. So if the numbers come in and we're within budget and we have some savings, there might be an opportunity to pick off a road from year 5, which would be awesome.
That would be great.
Oh, and bids are due here in about a month on the 24th.
Okay. Anybody have questions on the dirt road paving? You're up next on pavement condition survey update.
Right. So this is the pavement condition survey that is, I'm going to call it the 2021 survey, because the other one was the 2017 survey, which we're on year 5 of resurfacing in that 5-year program. But so the FNME, who was the consultant that has done the work for us this year, submitted to us a draft report on January 7th. We are in review of that report, and we will present the final report at the CTC retreat on February 16th for all of you to see. But I probably took a little bit of the shining part of the report out and took it away, but I couldn't help but put 3 highlights that were, you know, in the first part, which shows what a success that this program is. The 3 items that they came up with, that as a whole, our system of county roads, the PQI, which is a measure of the condition of the roads, has increased from 3.04 to 3.21, which is significant. Another significant item is even those roads that have been treated in years 1, 2, and 3 increased by 0.79, which says that we're picking the right treatments, and we certainly are doing the right thing by improving the overall condition of the county roads. And the last one, which I think is really significant, is 67.3 miles of the roadway are now considered very good versus 0 miles before. And it's all relative based on how they're scaling and looking at the road. So it's all good news. FNME will be here on February 16th to present the details and the nitty-gritty and what the next 5 years holds for us as far as funding for resurfacing and rehabilitation of the roads.
Before you all get away, I got to say, this committee has done an outstanding job of public service. This is a significant impact that has been made to the roads in our county, a means significant impact. To have 0 in a very good category, to have 67.3 at this point in time, that's a major accomplishment. And I give this committee a great deal of credit for staying with the program and helping us fund the next 5 years, because we're making a difference in this county, making a significant difference. And I give this committee nothing but attaboys for that. All right. Any questions? Thank you very much. Jared's up next.
Afternoon, Chairman and Committee. I couldn't agree more and echo and be more proud of the work that's been done over the last 5 years. That's incredible. I just did rough math on my calculator. We have 208 miles of paved road, so 67 miles in good condition is 33%. And I don't know what other counties can tout that, so that's a big feather in all our hats, and I think we've got more room to improve, and we're going to, and I'm excited about that. But for 170, to talk about 170, to talk about where we are since I talked to you last time, we had a kickoff meeting with our design consultant in December to meet with DOT And we've met with both local DOT and headquarters DOT to say, hey, here's the project you guys have looked at, the study that was commissioned by LATS, but they don't give final approval on a study, so they only give final approval on plan set. So before we get started on our plan set, hey, let's make sure we're marching in the right direction and everybody nod their heads. So we did have that meeting, it went really well. There was a couple of things they said, hey, let's take a look at this versus that. So we're going to be doing that with our engineer. It was also discussed that whether this should be a local permitted project or permitted through DOT and headquarters. And local ended up saying, you know what, at first I think it's a bigger project, but as we described it, they said, oh, this near-term project, it is smaller, something we can take in-house. So that's all good news, and we know who we're dealing with. Secondly, well, just last week I had a good coordination meeting with the town of Hardyville. As you guys are aware, we've already petitioned the Jasper County. We've got a $3 million project on these near-term improvements that Beaufort County would propose to take 1.5, so half of it. Jasper County, $1 million, and then $500,000 to City of Hardyville. So Jasper County's already written that agreement and signed it and sent it back to us, so they're fully on board for their $1 million, and their council's approved that. Had that meeting last week with town of Hardyville to kind of go over what's all included in the near-term projects, and they were very welcoming, and I'll be presenting to their town council in February at their workshop meeting, but thought that council would be very supportive of that request. At the same time, also talked to them about kind of bigger picture. It makes sense to look and do the bite size, the short term, but also we want to do the long term, and how do we fit that in, and how do we attack that, what are our plans? And also, if we're going to take the time and effort to tackle the long term $80 million big picture on 170, should we also look bigger than that? And what I mean is talking about also looking at Argent Boulevard and US 278. So I talked to that with the town of Hardyville, and they were very interested and agreed with that concept. So we're going to be talking further about that. We've also, on that same vein, on the Triangle project, and unless you guys have a better name, that's the name of that project, is the Triangle. So on that project, we've got currently, LATS helped us with the study, access management study on 170. The town of Hardyville actually commissioned a study on Argent Boulevard, and that's sitting on the shelf, done, complete. And we just contracted with AECOM, who's also doing the design, on an access management study on the third leg, which is 278. So they'll have that performed in short order, and at that point we'll have all three corridors have a full access management study, which will be kind of the basis part to develop the design, to develop cost estimate, to develop the project for this Triangle project. We're going to continue to coordinate with DOT and talk to them and coordinate on how we best facilitate that. But that's where we are, and I'll gladly take any questions.
Questions, anybody? Thank you much.
You're quite welcome.
Next item up is the award of the resurfacing, our 5-year program, and our state secondaries.
Again? All right. So, it was last week we received bids on what is year 5, the last year of the 2017 pavement condition report. So year 5 included about 7.5 miles of resurfacing of county roads, about 5 miles of state secondary. We had one bidder that bid on the resurfacing both for the county and the state secondary roads, and it was APAC Atlantic at a bid of $2,220,000 and $220,051. We are going to recommend adding in a 10% contingency for full depth patching, bringing the total for funding to $2,442,056. And I'll come back to the GOETHE Road note here in a minute. Set the next slide there, Brittany, for the rejuvenator.
It's on
Oh, is it on that?
it. Yep, it's right.
Well, that tells that, okay, you just, as you can see, I can't even read the slide, I read the screen, so.
Would you like to come over here?
I'm looking
and sit
at
in front
it,
of the
I
computer?
can't even see what's on there. Anyways, okay, so the day after that, we got bids on the rejuvenator. We had one bidder, which Pavement Technologies has done all 3 years of our rejuvenator, and they came in at $41,457,000. Again, we would recommend adding in a 10% contingency for a total of $45,602. Now, if we take both of these, the resurface and the rejuvenator, without the contingency, these bids came in on budget. So for anyone concerned about, a single bidder, though, stripped down to without the contingency or the full depth patch, they were within budget. But again, we are recommending adding in a 10% contingency.
Note at the top of the slide, what's being incorporated in this is 7.5 miles of resurfacing on county roads, and the other is the 5.06 miles of resurfacing on state secondaries. And these were the state secondaries that you all selected and made recommendations on that we approved back in the fall. Okay?
The cost, just for information, the cost on each one of those is about equal. It's about split. Just over $1 million, I think, Brittany, we looked at
Yes.
on the state secondary, and again, just over $1 million on the county portion. The other note I want to make is that, if you remember, we removed GOETHE Road from year 4 resurfacing because of some issues with the road. We're having a survey performed on it right now, just a kind of an as-built survey to determine what treatment we need to do, and then it's also a boundary survey, considering that in the future discussions with the town of Bluffton about taking that road over. So, we need to carry something in the budget this year with just some plain resurfacing. Last year, I think the number came in at just under 30 grand. So we're recommending $50,000 be budgeted to do something with that short stretch of GOETHE. So that will also be added to it.
I will,
Those are the recommendations we're making for award.
before we go off GOETHE Road, I see that Kim Jones from the town of Bluffton, her and I've spoken of this. Kim, have you gotten anywhere with the mayor and your team?
Sir, this will probably most likely be discussed during their strategic planning, which will happen in February. I believe it's February 15th. And there's been no formal request from the county received by the town, to my knowledge, asking that the town take that over. So if that could be received prior to strategic planning, that would be wonderful. I've mentioned it to town staff management, but again, to bring it in front of council, it would be great to have a formal request.
We'll take care of that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Sorry I can't be there. You don't want me there again.
We have a contract ready to be awarded. I need a motion to do such.
So moved.
Mr. McCain, and I'll take you as a second.
Second.
A question. The 10% contingency, that brings that up to 2.4. Okay, that's still within budget with the 10% contingency.
The contingency puts us over budget, so we're funding an additional, $200,000. for
Do we have the funds to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we got it, 1.1 million that we have to spend non-recurring funds.
Yeah.
And I think we're right around 4 million in.
Yes, our current balance, in removing the 500,000 that you keep, as a retainer, we would be sitting at $4.6 million right now. That does not include encumbrances, so we're looking at about 4.2 with our current contracts.
Thank you.
Further conversation or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
So to be clear, Chairman Gordon, we have the approval on the resurfacing for APAC?
Yes.
For the rejuvenator?
Yes.
For pavement technologies?
Yes.
And to include some type of allowance for finishing GOETHE Road?
Correct.
We'll carry 50 grand, okay.
Correct. Okay,
Do I have one more? Yeah, there we
you
go.
have new business. We'll move up to it.
One more. Back in December, we had, actually in November, we put out an RFP for pavement maintenance and preservation for the state secondary roads. And we received 5 proposals in December. We had a valuation committee of
You jumped
5
up
members.
one. You jumped up one. I'm sorry, I want to bring you back up because we have the transportation plan first.
Oh. Okay,
We'll come back to
all
that.
right.
We've provided you all with the revisions for our 21-22 transportation plan, which we must submit to DOT. We've received no changes or questions about it. So seeing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve the transportation plan.
Make a motion.
Jenny? Mark? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now, I will do the lead in a little bit with the next one. We did put an RFP out to look at our state secondaries of 500 or less. We received 5 different proposals. We selected 5 people to sit on a committee to review it. That committee was made up of Andrea, Jenny, Elizabeth Penn Sanders, and Brian Winslow, and myself. And I must say that when we went through the proposal, any one of the 5 firms could have done the job. But one stood out above and beyond the rest. And basically, they took the time of going out and using GIS, and they plotted all of the state secondaries with less than 500. And they did that before they were ever even given a contract or anything. And so I'll let you proceed now with the rest.
Okay. So with that lead in, we have selected AMT as the #1 ranked firm. And lost track of my days already, but I think it was yesterday we had a meeting with AMT, a virtual meeting. And we went over their scope of services and went over their fee proposal. Their fee proposal was in budget. And their scope of services was exactly what we had published in the request for proposal. So we see no reason why can't make a recommendation for award to them for their proposal came in at $78,187,000. Again, we would like to add a 10% contingency, bringing it up to just over $86,000.
Again, AMT stood above the rest. And one of the neat things about AMT is the former Director of Transportation for Charleston County is now working for AMT. He started January the 3rd. And so it's great to have somebody with that background and experience to work with in developing our state secondary less than 500. So any questions or conversation? Do I have a motion to approve the contract? Mark, do I have a second? Jenny? Discussion?
Question. Timelines? Timeline for delivery of product?
Once we get a notice to proceed, and we'll get a contract out in the next week or so, we'll get a notice to proceed probably by mid-February, 120 days.
Okay. So early summer, early spring, late spring, early summer.
Yes, sir.
The idea was that we'd have it done in time to be able to use for our next cycle and it's lining up real well that way.
It lines up great with our 2021 resurfacing for the county roads along with this, and then, you know, they'll go out again in the fall.
Can I have a vote now? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
I included in your packet something which I thought was really kind of interesting. Joe Sturm sent out letters to all the CTCs, and basically he was showing what the state charges to manage projects for us. And it's for DOT administered CTCs as well as self-administered CTCs. On resurfacing for self-administered CTCs, it's a 1% design fee and 6% engineering fee. Yeah, I shook my head too. When you go to greater than 200,000, their engineering fee is 18% and their construction fee is 21%. Between 100 and 200,000, it's 19.5% and 21%. It's less than 100,000, it's 21,000 for engineering and 21,000 for construction. The fees were shocking to say the least. So I'm providing that to you all to say, you know, whenever we're taking care of doing our own stuff in-house, we're not paying these fees to anybody. We're self-absorbing them with staff, having staff on board to manage our projects for us and so on. I just found the fees to be inordinate. So I thought I'd share that with you just to give you that as background information for the future. The next item is report on Charleston County CTC meeting. I got an invite the first week of December to come to Charleston County for a CTC meeting. And so went up and attended their CTC meeting. Was conducted during the day. And again, I want to turn to everybody that sits on this committee and say, congratulate you. I will say that I think this committee is in many ways more informed than maybe their committee is. And I say that down to a T, to every member. I really was shocked with some of the questions that was being asked by committee members. I would have thought that this is the number one, so to speak, CTC in the state, and I put our committee up against them in every way at this point in time. The only thing that they're doing different than what we're doing as a CTC, they spent $250,000 and bought computer software, and basically the computer software allows them to play with roads and changing roads around. The company that it's called Virtual
VT.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I will say to you that after watching the program, it would take almost a full-time person to be able to run the software, as well as the annual fees of keeping the software up to date and everything else. It would be a major undertaking. So I thought it would be beneficial just to hear words of setting there. I have the tie to be able to go look at it. If anybody would like to see that presentation, I have it, and let either Elizabeth or Brittany know, and I'll see that you get it. But it's about an hour presentation. Okay.
Craig, how long have they had the software, and do they have an estimate of what type of benefits it's provided? I mean, have they done a cost benefit?
They have no benefits for it other than they're able to change roads and where money is going to be spent. That's the only benefit that it really does.
So they're using it as a project management tool to track spending?
Just track spending. It's all it does.
When you say change roads, what that just define that?
Plucker master couldn't hear you.
Oh, when you say change road, that the software program change road?
What they would do is they would put in a grouping of roads that they wanted to update and change different paving types and techniques in it. It would do the calculations for you, and it would also give you the benefit then of how long it's going to last and what the life cycle might be. That's the only thing that it does.
Okay.
You could almost program that into a spreadsheet.
Yes. It's a kicked up spreadsheet.
Yeah, I mean, not $250,000 worth of software.
Precisely.
Okay.
Precisely. Next item is retreat workshop. We've all been given kind of an update on that. It's 16 February the 2022 at noon at 905 Buckwalter Parkway. I will be sending out an agenda for you to look at, but the agenda is going to be something of this to follow. Some of this is being done a little intentionally. We're going to have our FNME presentation on our next 5-year plan, and that's being done. It'll take probably 15 minutes to a half hour, and it's being done at that time for one reason. It gives District 6, because we'll have Tim Henderson, who is the District 6 #1 guy. He's going to be down along with Michael Black, and I think Josh Johnson's coming down as well.
I think you've got Tim Henderson, Mike Black. I can tell you, hold on.
Josh was coming, I thought.
Josh Johnson, Tim Henderson sent out an invite for this thing.
We had so many changes there. It's
So you've got Tim Henderson, Mike Black, who's district maintenance. You've got Daniel Carter, who's district construction, Josh Johnson, district traffic, myself, Elizabeth Penn Sanders, and Marcy Timmons,
Marcy's coming too.
who's district contracts.
Right. So they're coming down, and it gives us a chance to meet them and get to know them a little better, see who I've been dealing with on a recurring basis, and have a better understanding of how District 6 works. We're also having Joe Sturm come down, and Joe's going to put on a presentation as well. And he's going to talk about the how the CTC program is managed at the state level. And it gives you a broad scope of it. Lunch is being served.
oh, good.
Lunch is being served.
We're gonna start with that, right?
We're starting with lunch.
Just make sure everybody has a full belly.
As it stands now, we're doing carryout from Jim and Nick's, pulled pork, potato salad, cookie, and drink, I think, comes in a package. So, feeding you all. So that's kind of, as I said, I'll be putting out an agenda for it. Any questions on it? Okay. Next item, C-Fund Annual Report. I think we incorporated in your packet the letter that came from the state. As I've showed you in the past, it is there. Here we go. This was Joe Sturm's letter to the from the DOT to the General Assembly, and basically the annual report that we do and has to be signed by the chairman, along with the other 45 counties in the state, has to be sent to the General Assembly once a year. It's a requirement by the C-Fund law. And you can go to the website that's on there and pick up the complete packet of what's in the annual report to the General Assembly. So our report is number 7 as you go down the listing of it. Beaufort County 7th on the list. And our annual report is carried there. And again, I thought that would be something you all would like to see or know, that all the stuff that we're doing and where we're spending money does get reported back to the General Assembly. Okay, any questions on that? Seeing no questions on that, the last item under new business is election of chairman and vice chairman. Do I have a motion for chairman for 2022?
Mr. Gordon.
I'll
second that.
Second.
Thank you all. I guess that's almost unanimous. Thank you very much. I appreciate the vote of confidence you have in me. Election of a vice chairman. At this point in time, Mr. Glover is the current vice chairman.
Mr. Glover to continue.
I would second that.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries.
Aye.
Okay. Next item up is treasurer's report. Mr. Backer and Ms. Fields.
So this has been included in your packet. The highlights from this report right now, the revenue that we've received year to date is $2.493 million. Out of that, $1.334 million is the recurring funds and interest earned. And then $1.158 million is the non-reoccurring. If you remember from our last meeting, SCDOT has our requirement of 25% allocated to the state roads this year due to COVID. So that would make up a total of $990,864.75 that we will need to expend on the state secondary roads this year. Our current expenditures are $331,962, and that includes our road resurfacing year 4, our pavement condition survey, and our reevaluation of year 5 resurfacing.
All being said, we're been financially sound. As you notice, we've also kept, since year 1, whenever we decided to have a fund reserve, we still have $500,000 as a fund reserve for emergencies and things that we have to deal with. So we've financially managed our funds extremely well. We've kept our road paving program moving and on schedule, and as well as we've kept our state requirements on schedule. So is there any questions of Jim or Brittany? Is there anybody here that, on item 8, public comment? Seeing none. Chairman has no comments tonight. I appreciate your vote of confidence, as I said. And thank you for all the hard work that's been put in. We've had a very, very busy year, and this is a big kickoff for our January of 2022. So seeing no other business to come before this committee, committee's hereby adjourned. One hour?
You got some real backup there.